Well, I did it. I completed my first ever century ride, and today I'd love to share you about my journey of riding 100 miles through the epic, through the extreme Big Bend National Park. Let's get to it. This century ride has been a goal of mine for a really long time, but it wasn't until earlier this year that I decided to actually do it in Big Bend. And once I created this route, it became very clear that I was going to have to prepare.
Hey, tomorrow, I'm gonna ride my bike 100 miles. What do you think? Hey, do you think I can do it? Do you think I can do it?
This route entailed 100 miles of rugged terrain with no shade, 13 miles of gravel, and the whopping 7,000 feet of elevation gain. So with my preparations, not only was it just building mileage, right? It was also climbing, because I knew this was going to be a grueling day.
And now I'm confirming my fears as I am barely going 4 miles an hour, if that. This sucks. This really, really sucks.
So to kick it off, I started the ride at 6 a.m. in the Terlingua ghost town right at the cemetery.
You're doing great. Keep it up. Where are you at?
The cemetery.
Nice.
And while I would have loved to have seen some of the scenery, it was absolutely pitch black, which set such an awesome tone for the beginning of the ride, which it was just me, my bike setup, which we'll get into that at the end of the video. The stars were out so nice and bright. It was a really clear and still morning. And the moon, epic way to start this 100-mile ride.
All right.
Let's do this thing.
Oh my God, there she goes. 6 o'clock.
Once I got into the national park, it was 13 miles of gravel, and I am riding a Specialized Roubaix on 33 tires. So this was an absolute just jaw rocker, but I was blessed with one of the most beautiful and peaceful sunrises I could have asked for.
Oh, this road is just washboard for 13 miles, and it's actually about to get worse. Buckle up.
Along with this, I saw 0 cars, was able to absolutely cruise thanks to the nice descent that dropped me right out at Santa Elena Canyon.
Oh, look at the tire. But we made it to pavement in Santa Elena. What a beautiful, beautiful sight. Oh my goodness. That was fun, but I don't need to do that again. Wowzers. Rattled to my flippin' core.
Now, once I popped out of Old Maverick Road, I took a minute to kind of reassemble myself, if you will, so take a look at that.
I'm taking a second to kind of stop shaking, regroup. Obviously, the sun has now come out, so taking a second to switch out my lenses and hydrate and just get ready to tackle the hardest part of the climb. But here we are at Santa Elena. So I'm gonna do a still.
Once I got myself back together, flipped up my sunnies, as I mentioned, it was time to start climbing. And the first major climb of this epic route is Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive. 26 miles of pretty much straight vertical for a good chunk of it with some gnarly switchbacks. But along the way, was able to take in sights such as Castellone.
Light is just starting to hit Castellone. It's gonna get spicy very soon. So trying to keep the heart rate in a decent spot, which it's not right now. All right, let's take a stroll through Mars. This has to be one of the wildest parts of Big Bend National Park. You've got Castellone here on your right, and then all this volcanic leftover activity all around. And when you're in a car, you're going 45 miles an hour. It's hard to really appreciate just the diversity and crazy all of these rocks are. Look up ahead. Look up there. Whoa. That is so cool.
A pit stop at Sotol Vista And this is where I ran into my wife, my savior, Jackie Silva, for the first time. She wasn't supposed to meet me there, but what a welcome surprise, because I had just come up the gnarly hill of Ross Maxwell and I was not feeling great.
Bye, big sexy. I know, this is the good part. Thanks, love. Bye, see you soon.
I was honestly at a point where I was doubting if I could finish the remainder of the ride, so it was wonderful to see her and get some words of affirmation. After the quick pit stop at Sotol Vista, it was the quick descent leading me to the main park road and Ross Maxwell intersection where we were officially set to meet at the 50-mile mark.
Am I gonna fall over or what? Huh? Oh man.
Hey, look at you. How you doing?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah?
It's debatable.
What do you think?
I'm at 3,100 feet of climbing. I have a lot more to go.
Once I was here, she was kind enough to bring me water, more nutrition, and some motivation because I was seriously struggling. I knew at this point I had only climbed like 2,500 feet, and I still had a long, long way to go.
Just stopped for lunch with Jackie. I'm feeling a little more confident, but there's some definite anticipation and anxiety for the next 16 to 20 miles, but I'm just gonna enjoy the ride. Another brutal one. Oh my God.
So I had to kind of shake it off, and I never do this, y'all. Never do I ever ride with any sort of headphones or earbuds or anything like that. But I knew I needed some motivation to get me through the afternoon, to get me through the remaining 50 miles. So I popped in one AirPod with noise canceling off so I could still hear my surroundings. And I don't know what music gods blessed my playlist that afternoon, but absolutely bumping music. So grateful because it was pretty much just a climb. From 50 to about 70 miles, it was just up, 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 up.
So, Old Maverick I dreaded. This I was afraid of. And now I'm confirming my fears as I am barely going 4 miles an hour, if that, up the Basin Road. I bet I'm stopping like every quarter to half mile just to, I don't want to rip a hamstring or something. This sucks. This really, really sucks.
I thought it would at least be kind of easy at the start, but my legs were screaming, y'all. They were screaming. The whole time in my mind, I was just thinking, okay, if I can just get into the basin, I'll be okay. The rest of the ride is pretty much downhill, and it'll almost be over at that point.
Oh my God, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Never been so glad to see a trailhead in my entire life, and I'm not even hiking.
Once I finally made it to Lost Mine Trailhead, I knew I had done it. I knew I was there, and it absolutely felt like I don't even know how to describe it. So let's take a look.
Oh my God. Holy moly. Oh, thank goodness. Wow. Wow.
rewarding and special thing about making it into the basin was I had a bunch of cars that passed me along the way. And it being Thanksgiving week in Big Bend meant there was a lot of folks out and about, but they were actually limiting traffic going in and out of the basin to one car in, one car out. So I could essentially see when cars were gonna be passing me, which made for an awesome, awesome time climbing in, given that there wasn't a continuous stream of traffic. But once I got into the basin, I did a restroom break, I refilled my water. Several people commented, they were like, holy crap, you are amazing, great job, because they had passed me coming up the hill. Just an added boost of confidence that I needed to ensure that I could actually finish the ride. After my quick pit stop in the basin, it was time to climb back up out, right, of that crater, volcano, if you will. And once I got to the top of that, it was absolutely just blazing speeds down the mountain.
All right, this is the downhill from the basin.
It took me, I don't know, I'm gonna guess the better part of 2 hours to get in the basin. It took me 9 minutes to get down. At this point, y'all, I was feeling so great and so proud of myself. I knew it was just a steady decline all the way down to Bukias. At this rate, I was going 25, sometimes 30 miles an hour on this stretch just past Panther Junction, and what a blast. It was awesome to be able to get my hands off the handlebars, stretch my back up. Absolutely fantastic time to finish out this ride.
This is what I'm talking about, baby. Woo, 25 miles an hour. Downhill to the finish. Wow.
Getting towards the end of this ride, I had looked at the elevation chart 100 times and I saw that there were little blips at the end, but I thought, this will be nothing after what I've been through. Well, at 95 miles in, my legs were absolutely gassed.
Finish strong. You're doing fucking great timing. Let's go.
And I got to some of these climbs at the end and I was like, who the flip mapped out this ride? Because I was absolutely struggling to get up and finish this ride, but I was at 95 miles, I was so close.
I've been searching for Mallory. She has been boogieing this last stretch. And by last stretch, I mean the last 40 miles. I'm here at Bukias Canyon Overlook. There's the Rio Grande. Waiting for Mallory to finish up, but don't worry, came prepared. This trip is sponsored by Yeti and Element. Electrolytes in there, water, special hat for congratulations. Oh, and Mick Ultra. This tall baby's going in that whenever I see her come through.
To watch my odometer click over to 100 miles in one ride in my favorite place was just the coolest thing ever.
100! I did it! I did it!
And on top of that, I finished in what I think is a decent time. I was hoping to finish, first of all, just in general, but second of all, I really wanted to finish before it got dark, given that the days are so much shorter in November. But I actually finished at about 3:50 in the afternoon with plenty of daylight to spare. So let's check out a video of Jackie receiving me at the finish line near the Bukias overlook.
Way to go! You did it! With a few hours to spare. Woo! Awesome job! How are you? That was brutal, right?
So awful.
How do you feel? Are you alive?
I might ride back.
Oh my gosh, 3:49. Can you believe it?
No, actually, I really
I can't either. I'm shooketh.
I think
No
it's-
offense.
I mean, it's
Freaking
partly
shooketh.
in thanks to after I came out of the basin.
Yeah?
I think I averaged like 25 miles an hour.
Dude, you were flying. It
was-
took me forever. I was like, no. Hey,
3.8 miles.
no. 100. Why did you stop at 100.8? Give me 2/10.
No, I'm done.
Hey.
Fastest 40K.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Mm.
I love you.
So what an epic journey, and I am so grateful that I prepared, right? I've always been taught the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And so what I essentially did before this ride was I did a ton of test rides with varying gear, varying nutrition, varying setups with my bike. And what I landed on was something that absolutely was so comfortable throughout the entire day. So let's walk through a couple of the things that really made this ride extremely comfortable. First and foremost, I mentioned this in the preparation video, was switching my tires out to tubeless and also going slightly wider with my tire. Now, this was extremely helpful for that 13-mile stretch of Old Maverick Road, where it was extremely rocky, it was extremely uneven terrain. So that little bit of width gave me a little more stability, but I was also able to ride at a much lower tire pressure. So essentially, it was much more comfortable. The next piece of essential gear were all my Garmin accoutrements. So first of all, my Garmin Phoenix. I'm a huge fan of this watch, but I also have the Garmin Edge 1030 as my bike computer. And with this, I have paired the radar, which essentially allows me to know when cars are coming. So a huge safety feature, especially for the national park where most of the road, there are no shoulders. So I was very exposed most of the way, and having this little bit of technology and being able to see how close cars were coming was really, really critical. In order to capture this, I've hemmed and hawed, y'all. You know, I have a gear problem. And so what cameras would I take in order to fully document this ride? Well, what I landed on was the Insta360. And thanks to the new mount that Insta360 just came out, it was such a perfect seamless setup. I activated voice controls on the camera. So very rarely was I having to actually physically touch the camera.
Stop recording.
And it was very, very seamless. So I had my Garmin right in line with the Insta360, so everything was super, super convenient. That was for video. Now for photos, I just opted to bring my iPhone 16 Pro Max, and reason being, this new 5x zoom is crazy. I think it's like 200 millimeter equivalent, so that was a really, really perfect decision on my part because I was already weighted down. So what else was I weighted down with? Well, I opted to do 2 large, and I can't remember the exact ounces, but Camelback water bottles. For the morning, I did the soft squeeze style. Because it was still cool, I wasn't too worried about the liquids getting too hot. In the afternoon at the 50-mile swap point, I switched them out for the insulated Camelback water bottles. Those are so awesome if you're in a hot climate where you have a blazing hot sun, like we do here. It really saved my water from becoming absolutely boiling. Now, additional water, because I did go through a ton. I've opted, and I never thought I would do this on the road, but I opted to go with a 1.5 liter hydration pack from Camelback. So I went with the Women's Chase Bike Vest, and this was awesome for obvious reasons that it held 1.5 liters of water. It also had a decent amount of storage for little knickknacks, emergencies. But conveniently enough, the chest had a perfect spot for this honking iPhone 16 Pro Max, where I could easily grab my phone and place it back in my pocket very easily. So that Camelback vest was an absolute lifesaver for this ride. Last, but certainly not least, was my Rafa handlebar bag. And this was critical for storing all my food. I didn't want to have to be reaching behind. I have really poor shoulder mobility. I had a shoulder surgery a couple years back. So keeping my food in my back, I didn't like the idea of that. So this handlebar bag handled a ton of food. And I'm talking, I still had room to spare. So within this Rafa bag, not only did I have food, I had some emergency provisions like toilet paper, a leave. I also had backup batteries for my Insta360. And ultimately, it just served to be a perfect little pouch for all of my nutrition throughout the ride. So all in all, an accomplishment. I honestly am still kind of shocked that I did it, but I wanted to record this video just as like fresh off of the ride yesterday. What are some of the top things that came to mind, but also just as a matter of encouraging you. If this is something you've been thinking of doing, highly recommend either finding a local Century ride you can join in with a group, or go like me, go my route, right? You build your own route and do it in a place that brings you so much joy. But I hope you've enjoyed this adventure in the Big Bend, but thank you so much for watching. If you'd like more content from here and potentially bicycle related, be sure to hit that subscribe button. A like is also awesome. We'll catch you in the meantime.